Good evening. I'd like to now call to order the regular board meeting of September 9th, 2015, and Mr. Heap will lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Heap. Tonight, the substitutes are just Chris Haynes for Lee Combs, except Lee Combs is here. And also? Okay. Felicia. I'm sorry. Felicia Ganther for Dr. Maria Harper Marinek, and also for Debbie Thompson. No, all right, thank you. That would be all. Yes. Thank you. I'm very sorry, sir. Welcome. Welcome. I apologize. Student life reports. First, Scottsdale Community College, please. Good evening. Welcome.
President Livingston, members of the board, Dr. Glasper, members of the CEC, and guests, my name is Diego Leal, and I am the chair of the Council of Student Leaders at Scottsdale Community College. This is my second year serving in an executive position for the student governing body of SEC, which was known last year as the Student Leadership Forum. However, the 2014-2015 Student Leadership Forum felt the group needed a name that better embodied the purpose and function of our group as the voice of the student body. Through our SLF Constitution, we successfully were able to change our name to the Council of Student Leaders by way of a student body vote and approval from SEC administration. As a result of my experience as a student leader, I was able to represent our newly approved group and SEC's Center for Civic and Global Engagement by attending the 2015 Civic Learning and Democratic Engagement Conference in New Orleans this past summer. By being surrounded by other driven, civically engaged students in a setting that fostered critical thinking towards the ultimate goal of producing more politically involved students and school programs, has been a tremendous tool for me, SEC's Center for Civic and Global Engagement, and Scottsdale Community College as a whole. The results have been clear and immediate as the CSL Civic Engagement Committee that I oversee held very productive and successful events on Constitution Day and National Voter Registration Day, in which we were able to register 64 SEC students to vote, a record for any student governing body at Scottsdale Community College. Additionally, CSL held a campus 2016 U.S. presidential mock election in order to capitalize on the national attention of the U.S. presidential cycle and to get students excited about the upcoming primaries. 149 SEC students participated in the election, and it served as an excellent segue into our Democracy Wall initiative, in which we opened with a question asking if the students felt the results would be indicative of the 2016 presidential general election. Our Democracy Wall initiative has been an excellent tool utilized by CSL previously to allow students to voice opinions on current national policy issues, such as the then recent passing of same-sex marriage in Arizona, long-standing American traditions such as the use of the word God in our Pledge of Allegiance, and issues that hit closer to home for SEC students, such as the smoking ban on Maricopa College campuses. Our Civic Engagement Committee is greatly looking forward to creating new discourse week in, week out for our SEC students and invoking policy-related dialogue amongst a demographic that falls far below national averages in political participation. Civic engagement, leadership development, and serving as the voice of the student body are not all that we focus on. We also focus on developing activities and programs that demonstrate the importance of being globally aware citizens. We are currently planning our activities for our homecoming kickoff and International Education Week that will fulfill this goal. We know for sure we will have a panel of international students discussing the education system in their respective countries, an event that not only further immerses our international students in their SEC experience, but also provides an educational opportunity, as in previous years, professors have elected to bring classrooms to the event, and from there they would proceed to integrate this into their curriculum. Forming the bond between our traditional SEC students, our international students, our professors, and our curriculum in the way the International Student Panel does is a crucial piece of International Education Week. Our Global Awareness Committee, led by Vice Chair Ali Deemer, is currently in the planning stages of creating more events that serve the same purpose to form a more globally aware SEC. You're more than welcome to join us our third week of November so you can celebrate with us the benefits of global education. In addition to contributing to the educational experience of SEC, as student leaders, we value school spirit as a key piece in creating proud, well-rounded, fully involved artichokes. Our Special Events Committee, run by co-managers Kiana Flores and Sophia Sheikh, are putting the final touches on what will be a fantastic homecoming week. Our other exciting news is we just recently passed 4 new clubs at SEC. Under our jurisdiction, we are responsible for overseeing the applications for clubs, and we are happy to say that the following clubs have been approved: SEC Fitness and Nutrition Club, Women Rising, the Inventors Club, and Leadership, Education, and Awareness for Disabilities. These new clubs add new opportunities to incorporate more students into the fantastic student life our family of 28 SEC clubs has already created. I'm certain you're wondering who this group of student leaders is. Let me share that we are 18 diverse individuals that consist of ages ranging from 17 to 27 and backgrounds ranging from Native American to Hispanic to Asian. We proudly have a mother of two who work full-time, an SEC student athlete, past and current students of the Student Public Policy Forum, a recipient of the Chancellor's Medallion, and international students studying here from India, Pakistan, Cote d'Ivoire, Kenya, and Mexico. Got to admit, we've got a pretty amazing group. I would like to thank you for the opportunity to share a little about our Council of Student Leaders and what we have and expect to accomplish this year at SEC. Now, I wouldn't be a true ambassador of Scottsdale Community College if I didn't extend an invitation to you all to join us Saturday, October 10th for our homecoming game. Our theme is Peace, Love, and Artie, so if you're groovy enough, we hope to see you at 7 p.m. to cheer on the Fighting Artichokes football team. Thank you.
Wait. I don't think it's fair that you run away quite yet. Board members, any comments or questions? No? I would like to say just one quick comment, and that is the more clubs, more people you can gather into the various clubs on campus, the higher your success rate is, I believe, as a student and later in life as a person, because you really do have to learn to work together and enjoy. Thank you very much, and I love the well-rounded artichoke. It's really peace, love, and Artie?
Yes, peace, love, and Artie.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next college up, Paradise Valley Community College, the Fine Arts and Performing Arts Update. Sir.
Thank you, President Livingston, members of the board, Chancellor Glasper, CC colleagues, and guests. In alignment with the board's community development outcomes, with a specific emphasis on increasing access for Maricopa County residents to events such as the arts, tonight it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Christopher Cinto, PVCC's Division Chair for Fine and Performing Arts. Shortly, Dr. Cinto will provide you a concise and comprehensive overview of the diverse, amazingly educational and entertaining programs produced by our Fine and Performing Arts Division. Without preempting Chris's presentation, I want to emphasize the comprehensive nature of the arts-based outreach that in 2014-2015 resulted in over 19,000 community members attending, yielding a return to the college that far exceeds just entertainment. Here to tell you about this amazing community development return is Dr. Cinto. Chris?
Thank you, Dr. Dale, Chancellor Glasper, members of the governing board. Again, thank you for having me today to speak about Paradise Valley Community College and our community outreach plan. 2 years ago, the Division of Fine and Performing Arts created a strategic outreach plan for community outreach and engagement, which really focused on all of the areas of fine and performing arts at the college. My presentation tonight is going to be an overview of the plan, as well as some successes from year one and then things we're going to be implementing for year two. First thing we did as a group is we defined who our communities were, and we looked at 3 areas for our communities. Our internal community, made up of current students, staff, and employees. Our pre-college community, which would be our middle school, high school, charter school students and their families. And then the external community, which are our community residents, community associations, HOAs, all within a 10-mile radius of the college. Next, we looked at ways to engage the community, and we created 2 parallel tracks, an on-campus and an off-campus track, both of which had concerts, presentations, lectures, demonstrations, and hands-on workshops that, again, would bring people to college or bring them out in their community to learn something or to participate. At all of the events, we also included an audience feedback survey or an online link to gather information for those who attended and participated. Many of the signature events at the college we used to test the plan. We do about over 100 events at the college every year, so we looked at some of our signature events to test the plan. Our first Saturday concert series, which essentially is a community concert in the park. We do it the first Saturday of every month in the fall. Our Festival of Tales, which is an event geared towards student and child literacy and creativity. Our International Film Festival, theater productions. We launched a No Experience Necessary workshop, which would bring anyone to campus just to learn about music or art or dance. And then we did music coaching sessions at middle school and high school programs for beginning and intermediate band students. Here are some photos of our events, the Festival of Tales. You can see on the lower left some theater performances, our outdoor stage for our Saturday concert series. Photos from our No Experience Necessary workshop. We did something as simple as an open mic night. And then on the right is our community drum and dance workshop, which brought over 1,000 folks to the campus in the course of one summer. We also have some special art installations and art exhibits. A few weeks back, we had 28 Chinese artists visit the college with over 500 folks in attendance. Another key element of our plan was to remove the obstacles for attendance and participation. Listening to our students who are required to attend events, listening to folks who come to events, we created this list. Typically awareness of the program and awareness of events, admission costs, the performance schedule and location, defining our audience, who are we serving well and who are we missing, and then using PVCC as a resource and not competition. And that was a key, especially when looking at our pre-college community, our high schools and middle schools, and looking at our external community. Again, using PVCC as a complementary piece to what they're already doing, as opposed to competing for their students' attention. Delving deeper in the obstacles, one of the things that we did is we really focused our strategic use of social media. We created smartphone apps. We have a blog that's both academic and arts and culture, and it's embedded in our humanities classes. We increased our frequency of communication. Again, we collaborate with our community centers and organizations sort of as an add-on to the things that they are already doing well. We added a fine arts component to their events, again, to increase the visibility of PVCC. We added more free and weekday events, and we added more programming suitable for the entire family. Oh, one slide too far. Oh, that's it. So those are some of the things that we implemented as part of our plan. So the results, as Dr. Dale alluded to, prior to the plan, with 111 events, we brought 12,883 audience members and participants to the campus. In year one of the plan, 140 events, about 15% of those were off campus, over 19,000 audience members and participants to the campus. In looking at our audience feedback surveys, it was determined that cost, family-friendly programming, and the awareness via our social media platforms were the main reasons for the large increase. And at all of our events, they typically do an announcement, a pre-show announcement, and ask how many of you is it your first time at PVCC for an event. And roughly 30 to 35% of every audience was new at our signature events. Some more results. One of the things I'm most proud of is we now have a partnership pathway with Alice Cooper's Solid Rock Teen Foundation, where we are providing a scholarship for a teen to attend PVCC. If you're not familiar with the Solid Rock, it's primarily an arts, music, art, and dance training program for at-risk teens. Many of those folks using the arts for creativity and to enhance their lives. So we have one student right now on the Scholarship Pathway Project. We'll be doing a fundraising concert in November looking to fund 3 students on full scholarships for next year. We've also done community outreach concerts up into Anthem and into Aviano Community in Desert Ridge. As I said earlier, our No Experience Necessary drum and dance workshops started with 26, and over the course of the 6 weeks we had 117 attending the events. They routinely had multi-generational appeal. So we had the last 3 events, there were 3 generations from the same family attending the drum and dance workshops, so it was really successful. We launched a lunchtime concert series that connected with our seniors and community groups, which was well attended. All of the events so far are really about community engagement. Some of the events are turning into footsie. We created after-school music classes, which led to a summer program, which led to enrollment from Arizona School of the Arts, a charter school. We have 2 other charter schools that are waiting to add these after-school programs. They're 1-credit music ensembles. We've created almost, as it's coming later this semester, concurrent and dual enrollment classes with Shadow Mountain High School, which is in the PV Unified District. And we're looking at about 100 new students enrolled this fall in these 1-credit classes that are a result of our community engagement in last year. So our plans for year 2, ambitious, but we're artists and so we aim high. 25,000 attendants, audience members, and participants. We've already started live streaming several of our events. So if you can't attend our first Saturday concert series this coming Saturday at 6:30, you can find it on our Ustream channel, PVCC Fine Arts. We've expanded the program for families and diverse cultures. Our major theater production in the fall is a children's production. We've never done that before. So the Outlaw Robin Hood opens next week, and it's a children's show in our major time slot. And we've got matinees where we've got 3 charter schools coming for our matinees, as well as our campus employees and students. We're expanding the No Experience Necessary series. Again, new for this year is we're planning a program, fine arts program for vets. We have our visual art faculty member who does an arts therapy program for vets at the Arizona Artists Guild, and we're looking to expand that through all the fine arts disciplines at PV coming later fall or in the spring semester. We're collaborating with other disciplines on our campus, specifically the education program. We're looking to work with our STEM partners and our business partners to expand commercial music. We're strengthening our community partnerships. PVCC is hosting the quarterfinals of Alice Cooper's Solid Rock's Proof in the Pudding music competition. We'll be live streaming that event. And as an educational component, we'll be recording the event and then meeting with the bands in the quarterfinals to coach them and to give them feedback on their performances, which they have never done in their competition before. And we're reaching out to 2 new high schools and 2 new charter schools this year to look at offering workshops on their campus after school, which will hopefully lead to credit courses, either concurrent or after school classes. So that's in a nutshell. Questions about the program or the plan?
Board members? I think this is all just fantastic. One that loves the arts and teaching drama this year. I loved what you said, not only about Solid Rock. I have 2 friends whose children are in it, and I know that will be exciting for them. But your, I love the community engagement, and you really listening to your community, to your stakeholders, to your students, lowering the cost because arts are getting costly and very difficult for, I'm sure, your students and other students around to attend. And I just think that's fabulous. Your arts program is just top notch.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
President Livingston, members of the board, Chancellor Glasper, CEC members and friends, it's my pleasure to bring to you tonight essentially an update, continuation of a very good news story. PVCC's, that was impressive, that was really wonderful. This one shifts to maybe the other side of the brain, perhaps, and you'll hear an explanation in just a minute. About 3 years ago, Dr. April Strom was here to tell board members then seated about the Arizona Mathematics Program. It was the beginning year of what was and is a 4-year National Science Foundation, $8.7 million grant award all designed to help improve students' learning in the middle schools around the valley in terms of mathematics. At Scottsdale, one of the things we talk about or that we affirm is that we think that colleges and universities teach the people who solve the problems and prepare the people who change the world. And that's an ACE, American Council on Education's slogan and statement, but I think it really describes what we're about all across Maricopa, and certainly not the least of which is this project. So tonight, it dawned on us as we looked at the dais here that there were many members of the governing board who had not heard about AMP, as we refer to it. So we invited Dr. April Strong back, who is math faculty at SCC and happens to be the PI for this project that does involve other folks across the college and the college districts, and other teachers across the valley here in Maricopa. So with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. April Strong.
Thank you, Dr. Gaylor. I appreciate it. So President Livingston, members of the board, our chancellor, members of the CEC, and our guests, thank you for your time tonight and just presenting to you a little bit of an update about our AMP project. So we are the Arizona Mathematics Partnership, and I promise I won't do any math at this presentation, so nobody run for the door. So we are focused on professional development with middle school mathematics teachers. And I'll share with you a bit of a map that we have here so you can kind of see the school districts that we are involved with. We have 7 school districts. You can see Deer Valley, Fountain Hills, Scottsdale, Salt River, Pima. We've got Chandler, J.O. Combs, and Florence. So we're quite all over the valley. Of those 7 school districts, we had aimed to actually have 300 plus teachers participate with us. We've actually exceeded that number, which is fantastic. But as you can see here, 5-year project, we are officially in year 4 of this 5-year project. And as Dr. Gaylor mentioned, we were funded at $8.7 million, but in fact, NSF visited us back in March for their official site visit, and upon our 2-day conversation with each other and them looking at our project very carefully, gave us the opportunity to apply for additional funds under this award, with those funds going to our district and training our mathematics faculty, particularly on the modules project, the math modules that is coming online. So we got an additional 300 plus thousand, so officially now we're over the $9 million mark. For the professional development activities, what we do is we recruit the middle school teachers, essentially grades 5 through 8. We have some 9th grade teachers on board. They do about 100 hours of PD with us per year for 2 years. As a result of the grant, we're able to provide a monetary incentive for them for their time. We do most of our work in the summer, but we have follow-up work during the academic year with Saturday workshops. All of the activities that we do with the teachers is content focused. So as mathematics faculty, we are putting together training to get teachers to be thinking about the mathematics at a very deep level. Some other characteristics of our AMP project is, in addition to the school districts, we have 3 community colleges, primarily leading with a couple more that we've actually added on over the course of the year. So Scottsdale is officially considered the lead partner. And in grants such as this, with the National Science Foundation of this size grants, this is really the second largest math and science partnership project that NSF has funded to a community college. Typically, grants like this are led by a university, with a community college getting a sub-award. Our particular project is the reverse. We have the parent award, and we have a sub-award with ASU. For that sub-award, we actually have a few doctoral students working with us on research. They come to the community college. They meet with other faculty. We actually meet weekly to produce research on this project and on our teachers, the learning of our students, you name it, if it relates to math education. And so, in addition, we've got Glendale and Chandler Gilbert that were on as core partners from the beginning of the project. But since we've added faculty from Phoenix College and Mesa, all mathematics faculty on this project. So I mentioned that NSF was out to visit in March, and I've actually had a relationship with these program officers for a number of years with some work that I did about a decade ago at ASU. And I can promise you that laudatory comments are not a thing that's often coming from them very often at all. And it turns out after these 2 days, like I mentioned, they gave us the invite to get additional funding because they felt like what we were doing with the middle school teachers was important and good enough that they would like to give us more money to continue that. And in fact, I'll give you a quote of what they left us with, that it's quite possible that this project is just too good. They actually gave us that comment. The main program officer, Dr. Bergen, provided that to me as we were leaving. So it's pretty fantastic. So a few things more about our project. I mentioned our target was 300 teachers. We at this point, again, we're in year 4 of the project. So since 2012, when we were funded, we have 338 teachers that have participated or are currently participating. 19 teachers in a leadership academy. So we invite, I mentioned the teachers work with us for 2 years, but we invite them back for a 3rd year of a leadership training. And in that training, they work directly with me to develop their knowledge of research in math education. They conduct an action research project. They run a summer math camp that I'll talk more about, and so forth. At this point, we've had 50 schools involved, 93 site-based CCOLs. CCOL for us is a collaborative community of learners. It's our version of a PLC. So our mathematics faculty are not only putting on these workshops, content-focused workshops, as I mentioned in the summer and Saturdays, but in fact we are going out to the schools and meeting with the teachers on a monthly basis. I'll share more about that in just a minute. Other things here, we've got, over the course of the last few years, 67 faculty, staff, students, and consultants that have been working with us in various capacities. We have one teacher on assignment from Scottsdale Unified School District that she started last year. She's working with us again. It's very nice to have a middle school teacher actually project-based at our college working directly with us. We have 4 doctoral students through the ASU Sub Award, as I mentioned, 14 undergraduate community college students that were at the community college at the time that they started our project and moved on to the university, either NAU or ASU, and they continue to work for us. Many of them are researchers. They've given presentations at conferences. They've written papers, you name it, right alongside the faculty. You can see some of them actually in the picture here. They were pretty excited at a camp. So I'm going to leave you with 2 main things. This is the first one that I wanted to show you. The last time I visited, the board members that were here will remember that I shared a little bit about a summer math camp. This is just one of the pieces of our project that we do. A little piece, but it's our outreach piece with the kids, with the students themselves. I mentioned the Leadership Academy. They are the teachers that participate in the Leadership Academy are the ones doing the teaching in the summer math camp. We as a project actually organize all the logistics for this camp. So here's kind of a short video of camp from this past June.
Challenging problems than what you find at school, and it wasn't just math problems where they just gave you an equation and you have to solve it. It's like fun word problems. We actually get to see what's behind the math, not just staring at a notebook and writing stuff down.
Learning all about the different ways math can incorporate like real life problems and how to solve them and how they actually make up the world in real life and not just on a packet or a test.
Was learning more in 4 days than I did in a whole year.
But I also liked how they taught me how to persevere through like challenges and problems, and they taught me how to problem solve and not give up.
They showed how to do math in like different ways than how I was used to doing it in the classroom, and more practical in life kind of ways.
How to program a robot, that was pretty cool.
So awesome to see kids actively engaged and getting excited about mathematics.
I absolutely loved it. The kids were really engaged. There was so much discovery and investigating. Lessons that we had planned went different directions because the kids were curious about one thing or another, and we went with it. And having the freedom to go with it is exactly what these kids needed.
I like meeting new people and like new friends and doing math.
Chance to collaborate with people who are as enthusiastic about math as me.
Yes!
Just about my most favorite ending to any video I've ever seen. I love it. I should mention that this camp, by the way, was completely free for these kids, which was a requirement on my part that I wanted to make sure that we were providing opportunities for the students to have, to be able to go to a math camp and not have to have the hurdle of paying for it. This was an overnight math camp, by the way, at ASU this past year at the Barrett Honors College. The year before, we did it at Grand Canyon University. The picture that's up here just gives you a glimpse of one of the workshops that we had with many of our teachers. I think in the room at this point was about 65 teachers that we were working with on this day. And they all are collaborating together on the mathematics. And I want to show this picture because in addition to the teachers working together, they're actually working with our faculty. So the person on the left is Dr. Chris Miller, the chair of the math department at Glendale. And he is there alongside the middle school teachers working on the mathematics together in all of our workshops and at the school. So part of our project has been not only to have us work with the middle school teachers and have them learn from us, but to also learn from them. Learn about the challenges that are going on in K-12, the real challenges that teachers face on a daily basis. So I think we have learned a lot, and I wanted to share, this will be the last thing I share, a video of some of our faculty and what they have learned as a result of being a part of our project. The first couple of people you'll see here are actually leaders on our project from Chandler Gilbert, and so they'll talk a little bit about their philosophy of what they bring to the AMP project, and then a follow-up with the other teachers.
As people see us at the college level and they think, well, you certainly don't do the things you're telling us in AMP. You can't do that in a college class. Like, you're teaching calculus and differential equations, and from their perspective of their experiences in a college math classroom, they pretty much sat in a desk or in an auditorium and were by themselves, and they watched a professor write equations on the board, and that was their experience. And to imagine it being anything different than that is really hard. But the truth is, I do teach exactly what I promote within AMP for 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade teachers.
Really, looking back over it, my first 10 years or so, I was very traditional in that I would go through a lesson and do examples. The students would copy them down. I would give them time to work, and that's pretty much how I ran my class. But I found real soon that that was not going to serve them well in the future, or even at the time, really, because they weren't thinking about how to solve problems in the truest sense of the word, and I got very frustrated with that.
I think it's even a richer experience as well. You know, it extends beautifully for our students because they are at a level where they can think deeper and know that there's not one way to do a problem. And all our ideas are valid, and as long as we focus on the mathematics, we can come to the same answer or a reasonable answer without being forced into a particular mold to solve the problems, because the problems that technology is creating are ones we haven't even thought of. So if we continue to stay traditional, we're not going to be able to create thinkers to solve those problems.
Prior to AMP, I think I was much more on the, well, you've seen some of these ideas before, let's just get through this content, show me that you know it so you can move on. And now I'm much more focused on the richness of discussion, the sharing of ideas, the collaboration.
Sure, I was surprised by how much AMP has influenced me, to be honest. I went to the first summer workshop and we were given all those problem-solving activities by Jim Visich. I just fell in love with this whole notion of loving to do mathematics, again, in a different way than I had been doing. And so I was inspired to again pursue this love of understanding of mathematics.
It makes me think about what I'm doing and how I'm getting the students to go deep into what they're trying to understand versus just the skimming over and making sure I cover all the material. So I've gotten away from covering it all and just going where the students go.
And many of my students, they liked the experience. They said they didn't like math before. They had bad experiences in their prior education, and they're following me. So I guess that's a good sign that one of my students told me that she likes how we use multiple approaches to solving problems, and that's why she signed up for my next course. And so I have students who follow up because they like the experience or they want to see me in a future course.
I think it's just been a really rewarding experience. I'm very thankful for the opportunity to be involved in the project, but also to work with teachers and to see, from their eyes what they're kind of dealing with every day in the classroom, and how, in talking with them, it helps me figure out ways to do my job better.
But those teaching practices, regardless of your political view on Common Core, are just good teaching practices. And so I try to implement those in all my teaching.
You can't go back to doing what you were doing before when you know something else works better.
I can say that I've been with the district for almost 18 years, and this has truly been the highlight of my career, to work with and alongside the faculty across the district, not just to have the chance at my own college, but across many colleges. So with that, I'll turn it over to you if you have any questions for me.
Board? Anything? Well, thank you very much, but I do have a comment. It's a quiet board tonight. You give me hope for the future. Right now, not all teachers feel as excited as this every day, but you give me hope in the future that we all perhaps are going back to that creation of lesson and following the child once again instead of following the curriculum. Thank you so much. Thank you for opening your doors for free. Thank you for opening the world of mathematics to so many.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Leo Valverde, with our adjunct faculty report. Good evening, sir.
Madam President, members of the board, Chancellor Glasper, members of the CEC, family, friends, neighbors, Romans, countrymen. I regret to inform you that I don't have a slick PowerPoint presentation tonight, but I do have two things that I'd like to report on, one event and one emerging issue. At the beginning of this month, the Adjunct Faculty Fall Day of Learning was held at Phoenix College. And our focus this year was the residential hiring process. I am very pleased to report that we had between 75 and 100 attendees that gave up part of their holiday weekend to attend this event. And on behalf of the planning committee, which was a combination of members of the AFA, members of MCLI, and just volunteer adjunct faculty, the feedback was incredible, and mainly because of the representation amongst administrators and leadership within the district, including Vice Chancellor Selton Johnston, Dr. Dale from Paradise Valley, Dr. Kaur I saw earlier, Dr. Mosley I think is also here. But a number of leadership came to talk about the realities of the residential hiring process and also the value of adjunct faculty, and that we are really the recruitment base for the next generation, if you will, of residential faculty. And as the district continues in its 60-40 initiative, what I can tell you is that I am hopeful. Because we have a lot of very dedicated and wonderful adjunct faculty who are willing to step into the next role. And the greatest feedback we got was thanking those administrators for showing the value of adjunct faculty. The emerging issue that I'd simply like to discuss is, as the district has moved towards or moved in with the FMS system for the application of expenditure of funds and travel, I had an opportunity to listen to and talk with a number of adjunct faculty about adjunct faculty professional growth, talking with them about their knowledge of it or lack thereof, and obstacles that they saw as to why maybe they weren't participating in. We found two things. One, the biggest obstacle for a lot of adjunct faculty for not utilizing adjunct faculty professional growth was they didn't know about it, which was easily solved. It's part of my mission, part of my job and responsibility to get the word out. And I've also spoken with representatives from each of the college, and I'm pleased to say that we have seen an uptick in the applications for adjunct faculty professional growth, which is a very good sign. But the second reason for adjunct faculty not utilizing it is because of sort of the restrictive nature in when it can be utilized. Even an adjunct faculty member who teaches all 3 semesters for us can only really utilize those growth funds in a period of about 6 or 7 months. So if an activity falls outside of that time frame, they cannot. And also I've been contacted by a number of program directors and other interested parties for adjunct faculty who teach short courses, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. They're literally unable to take advantage of this program by definition. You can only apply, you have to apply at least 28 days before the event, which means you have to wait until your class starts, if it starts. So your first month, really, you can't take advantage of any programs that you're aware of. And it is my hope that I can speak with some leadership, both in the faculty association, but also with the district, about a proposal to see if we can make the funds a little bit easier to apply for. And hopefully that it can match or mirror the same time frame that the tuition waivers do. Adjunct faculty can use the tuition waiver within the same fiscal year as their assignment, regardless of whether they are actually teaching at the time. It can be deferred, whereas adjunct faculty professional growth must be done during the assignment. And that also can be detrimental to adjunct faculty who don't want to take the time off to attend a program, a seminar, or event, and then have to actually lose money by not teaching their class. So I'm hopeful that we can create a proposal and send it to the district. And maybe in the future I can attend one on PowerPoints and bring that in at some point. Those are the only things I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Paradise Valley Community College has 3 Emeritus Distinction Awards, so I turn it over to Paradise Valley. It didn't say which was which, sir.
So no faculty executive report tonight?
No.
Madam President, may we use the podium for these?
Absolutely.
President Livingston, members of the board, again, Chancellor Glasper, colleagues, and guests here tonight. It is my pleasure to present 3 recommendations for emeritus distinction for your consideration. Unfortunately, 2 of the 3 were unable to be with us tonight, but given their contributions to our college over the many, many years, if you would allow me the personal privilege to share just a few remarks about the 2 faculty who could not join us tonight. First of all, Mr. Surendra Gangadine taught with the Maricopa Community Colleges, listen to this, for over 45 years. His academic interests as a teacher and as an author, highly published author, included logic, ethics, history of religion, and world religions. Surendra's life work was to inspire and encourage countless number of students, many who have gone on to academic careers in higher education. Secondly, Patty Marsh was also unable to join us tonight. She was a longtime faculty leader at Paradise Valley Community College, serving in a number of critical leadership roles. She was the chair of our business IT division, a good friend of mine as the faculty senate president, and numerous leadership roles in the development of our distance education program. Under her leadership, our Choices at PVCC program was one of our hallmark innovative programs of the year. Joining us tonight, however, is Dr. Lois Romadili. Momentarily, Dr. Mary Lou Mosley, our Vice President of Academic Affairs, will formally present Lois in her very distinguished nomination. But I would be remiss if I didn't offer 2 very personal observations. First, while Lois was brought national recognition to Paradise Valley and the Maricopa Community Colleges. She was first and foremost a gifted and passionate teacher who brought learning alive in her classroom every day. And secondly, Lois has the gift to transform the arts into learning and critical thinking that far transcends mere aesthetic appreciation. Simply put, as you will hear, Lois Romadili was one of our rock stars. Mary Lou, would you make the formal presentation?
Thank you, Dr. Dale. President Livingston, members of the board, Dr. Glasper, CEC members, and guests. It's my honor to present Dr. Lois Romadili and to give you a few details about her contributions to Paradise Valley Community College, certainly to its students, its faculty, and staff. Dr. Romadili was our founding faculty member for both the Women's Studies program and the Creative Writing program. In doing the Creative Writing program as part of her leadership, she established the PVC Visiting Writer and Scholar Reading Series, the Paradise Review Creative Writing Journal, and the Student Essay Contest, a tribute to teaching and learning relationship. She collaborated very closely with fine and performing arts faculty and counseling faculty to expand the understanding of arts across the disciplines. Some of her primary collaborations in the creative area are with Dr. Chris Cinto, who you already heard tonight, and the two of them combined music and her poetry in a number of productions, including a special 9/11 remembrance musical work and a musical drama based on Dr. Romadili's third book of poetry. As Dr. Dale mentioned, Dr. Romadili is an outstanding faculty member. She mentored her students as they learned to write, explored the publishing field, learned and repeated her classes over and over and over because they kept learning. In recognition to her students and to education, Dr. Romadili was chosen by the Carnegie Foundation for the Advancement of Teaching and Case as the 2012 U.S. Professor of the Year at the Community College, the first in Arizona to receive that award. I'd now like to present Dr. Romadili and give her a few minutes to address you.
President Livingston, members of the board, Chancellor Glasper, members and guests, I just wanted to come here and say a brief but heartfelt thank you for this wonderful recognition. And it has been an honor and a privilege to work with my outstanding colleagues and amazing students at PVCC and across the district. I have had amazing opportunities to grow as a professional and as a person. And as those of you who have taught know, you learn as much from your students as you hope they learn from you. I'd like to thank my friend and colleague, Christopher Cinto, for bringing me the project of the music drama, A Ballad of Downtown Jake. And I'm proud to say that we recently were nominated for 2 Arizona Awards for Theater Excellence, one for original script, that would be me, and one for original composition, and that would be Chris. But I attended one of my students who has been with me, no joke, 20 years. I attended her master's graduation this Saturday, and she was the keynote speaker. And I can't tell you how I was just bursting with pride, and she was good. Afterwards I said, that was such great writing, And then I said to her, as I've said to other students when I've attended their graduation, in fact, I even got a pink t-shirt that said, I told you so. I didn't wear it to graduation this time. There's much I could say about my students whom I love, and my colleagues, and this district. And though I am retired, I still continue to be an ambassador for my college and for this district, of which I am extremely proud. So thank you again for this honor.
Thank you. You did give me goosebumps, by the way. So heartfelt. Citizens interim. The board, oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. South Mountain Community College. I did not mean to miss you.
It's Three Mountain. Thank you. President Livingston.
I'm sorry, it says South Mountain.
President Livingston, members of the board, Chancellor Glasper, CEC colleagues, and guests. It is my honor to announce that Estrella Mountain Community College has received the 2015 Higher Education Excellence and Diversity Award, also known as the HEAT Award. It is presented from Insight into Diversity magazine, which is the oldest and largest diversity-focused publication in higher education. The annual HEAT Award is a national honor recognizing U.S. colleges and universities that demonstrate an outstanding commitment to diversity and inclusion. Estrella Mountain will be featured in the November 2015 issue of Insight into Diversity magazine. Estrella Mountain was selected for its innovative and expansive initiatives that are at the heart of our core values. Many of the programs, projects, events, and activities at Estrella Mountain include diversity components as a measure of success. Examples include inclusiveness in the hiring process, domestic violence awareness, facility staff appreciation events, awareness activities such as the Black, Asian, Pacific Islander, Hispanic, Native American, and Deaf World awareness events. Today, for example, we had a Hispanic awareness and an AIDS awareness activity. Lenore Pearlstein, publisher, emphasized, HEAT standards are high, and we look for institutions where diversity and inclusion are woven into the work being accomplished every day across the campus. Thank you.
Congratulations, sir. I look forward to reading that. And again, I apologize. Citizens interim. The board offers opportunity for members of the public to address the governing board in compliance with the open meeting law. The governing board will neither discuss nor take action on issues raised during this portion of the agenda. When necessary, issues will be taken under advisement and placed on a subsequent agenda. First this evening is Joy J. Drapes. Mr. Drapes, welcome. And you are with GCC Veterans Interest, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening, President Livingston, members of the board, Dr. Glasper, members of the CEC, and guests. My name is J. Adam Draper. I'm currently a student at Glendale Community College. I'm also a combat veteran. I served 8.5 years in the United States Marine Corps. I was a scout sniper, and I've also deployed 4 times. I've been to Iraq, I've been to Afghanistan, and I've also been to Southeast Asia. I've seen combat in all these regions, and I'm happy to say that I'm still alive. Probably the most important thing I want to highlight is the fact that I'm able to use my GI benefits to further my education and enhance my mental abilities. I've been involved in some very hairy situations, and a lot of my emotions get in the way at times when I don't really want them to be in the way, and that's because of my experiences. And there are a lot of people like me who are combat veterans, and I interact with them every day at the Veterans Service Center at Glendale Community College. It's a way for me to basically reconnect with something that I lost. It's a way for me to be able to deal with some of the stressors in terms of acculturation, and I really hope that you can be persuaded to consider possibly an expansion of our building. I know that there was a congresswoman who wrote a letter to our veteran advocate, Mr. Spivey, and I wanted to let you guys see how, and women see how it is on the ground as a student veteran. I'm going through 18 credit hours currently, and I'm a husband. I'm also a father of 2. I'm a Navajo, and it's a very difficult system for me to navigate. And without the Veterans Service Center, I don't think that it would be as easy as it has been so far. I've been away from academics for 8.5 years. So when I came back into the civilian society, away from my strict institution, I started seeing things that I never knew that would bother me. I thought I'd be okay with. My pride took over. Unfortunately, as these obstacles came up, I realized that it's important for me to really be humble in who I am and be a part of something that I've been able to protect, which is the ability to say what I want when I think is best, and to respect other people's views whenever they express theirs. Not to mention everything in the Constitution and everything that the state stands for. I was born here in Arizona, so when I was done with my service, I wanted to come back and help my dad and have his grandchildren around so that he could spend time with them. And when my wife and I were trying to decide where we wanted to move, she wanted to move to Montana, but I was very stuck on coming back home because my people are here, and I think that I need to do my best to represent. I understand the expansion of the building is going to be extremely difficult to fund. I don't know, but as a veteran with my veterans benefits and education benefits, I wouldn't be able to do this at all. I would have a very hard time funding my schooling, and I'm glad that I sacrificed those 8 years because now I have the ability to educate myself, and I've with the obstacles I've faced, I've been able to overcome them and bounce back, and it's because of the veterans in my community that I'm able to do that. I can talk to them about some of the things, and a lot of the experiences that I've had, they have as well, and there's a lot of areas that we've been close and we didn't even know it. So overall, without them and without the ability for me to go to the building, then I think that I'd have a lot harder time and I wouldn't be going to school whatsoever. So appreciate your time, and thank you for hearing me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you also for your service. Also from Veterans Interests, Chris Spicer.
Come up to the task, so to speak. Good evening, Madam President Livingston, and members of the board, Dr. Glasper, members of the CEC, and guests. My name is Chris Spicer, and I am here for the expansion of the Glendale Community College Veterans Center. I am a U.S. Air Force veteran of the Vietnam era, and I'm also the advocate for veteran successes at Glendale Community College. I am an example of that success at Glendale Community College. They have helped me to where I am today to be that advocate for veterans. Through the culture that has been established at GCC Veteran Services Center, by the way, was one of only 2 community colleges in the state of Arizona that was recognized as a veteran supportive campus in 2014. GCC throughout the district, Maricopa 1 has been a light for many veterans, and as well as students throughout the district working at the GCC Veteran Center and providing the same support and encouragement that was given me and made me successful today as an advocate for veteran successes. The only difference is the growth and needs are increasing. To provide the personalized assistance and compassion of services, things must change. The building must grow with the need and issues. For example, as you can see my condition, it has changed over the past 4 years, and
as to the area, it has not adapted to handle not only me, but many other veterans who also need change for consideration of their conditions. As your advocate for veteran successes, many issues have changed, and I need to help to properly service an ever-growing veteran culture in our veteran community with their families and give them a chance for their future successes. They have given so much, and we must give back with heart and passion. I appreciate this opportunity to come before you tonight to ask that you would help us to expand those services and create an environment for our veterans to grow into the community in which we live. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your service and your words tonight. Joe Mercer. Mr. Mercer, welcome. You're from the GCC Veteran Service Center?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, President Livingston, members of the board, Dr. Glasper, members of the Executive Council. My name is Joseph Mercer. I am an American veteran. I've served 24 years in the United States Air Force. I retired in 1993 from Luke Air Force Base. I've been working with Glendale College and the Maricopa District since 1998. I first came to the college as a work-study student while I was going to college myself, working on my bachelor's degree in IT. I never left. I fell in love with the work that I was doing, serving other veterans, and it's always been my pleasure to turn around and reach my hand out to the young men and women who are coming along behind me and to help them do exactly what I did. Use your benefits and get your education. The rewards are well worth the work and the time. We're here tonight to ask for your help. I work in the Veteran Service Center. Like I said, I started working with veterans in '98. At that time, we were one desk, a spot on a counter, and one full-time employee, Mr. Chuck Pierce. It's been my pleasure to work with him all these years. We moved in 2010 from being a part of the enrollment center into a standalone facility. And at that time, we were so proud to have a facility of our own to serve our people, to serve our veterans, their friends, their dependents, and the community. But the building's too small. The need has expanded. I'm sure we all watch the news and we know that Congress has cut the number of people in uniform. A couple months ago, the Pentagon issued orders to Yuma to reduce their manning by 5% over a year, and a general decided to do it in 6 months. These are the people that we see coming to our doors. People who thought that they had a continuing career. They thought that their bills, their paychecks were going to continue, only to find out that their application to re-enlist had been denied. They have a 2-week notice. They've lost their income, they've lost their home, they've lost their dignity, and they're holding on to their pride. These are the folks that we see on a daily basis. It's been my privilege as an academic advisor to be one of the first people to sit down and have a formal conversation as these people show up to our doors. I hear their stories, and it's my privilege to help them to understand and develop a mental picture that shows them that they can do this, that there is a positive direction to go in, and the work and the effort is well worth it. The prize at the end is something to look forward to. Some of you have had the opportunity to come visit my work area, and you know there's no privacy there. I can't close the door. I don't have a door to close. I only have enough space for myself and one other person to sit there. So when there's a spouse and children, we get real close. I hear their stories. I hear very intimate details of their recent past, of their dreams, their aspirations, their desires. Many of them come and they're very, very afraid. It's a stressful walk from that parking lot to our building. They don't know what's coming. They don't understand the process. All they know is that everything they knew is behind them, and they're not aware of what's coming. What we're asking for is an improved work area so that we can do the job that we do better and for more students. We started out serving 30 to 40 students, veteran students per month. Right now we're up to 600 and sometimes 900 students a year. And we haven't expanded to accommodate that workload. Thank you for the privilege for coming here tonight and listening to me. Thank you.
Mr. Pierce, thank you very much. Thank you for your service and what you do every day. Heartfelt. I'm sorry, Mr. Mercer. Hello. I guess I was so looking forward to the next one. Mr. Pierce.
Twins.
Twins. Absolutely. Good evening, sir.
President Livingston, members of the board, Dr. Glasper, members of the CEC Council, and guests. Thank you for allowing me to be here tonight and for providing this opportunity to speak about the expansion of the Veterans Center. There's a lot of things that are going on in our lives that we wish that we could do better. But I am Charles Pierce from Glendale Community College. I'm the co-chair for the district council meeting, and I'm also the district Veterans Council coordinator and Veterans Services for Maricopa County Community College District at the Glendale campus. I am a 25-year Air Force veteran, and I separated from the service in 1997. I am a first-generation student. I was one of 6 siblings that graduated high school and went on to finish my bachelor's degree and my master's degree, all because of the military service. When I got separated in 1997, I came back to GCC because I was job seeking, and I found out that my bachelor's degree in administration support was not good enough to get me a job right out of the gate. So I came back to GCC and I studied computer information systems. And in the process, I found out that the GI Bill and what GCC does for our student veterans was where I needed to be. And that's when I decided to apply for the job. I was accepted and honored to be an employee of Maricopa. When I went in 2001, my supervisor said, well, let's talk about professional growth. So I went to NAU and achieved a master's degree in education leadership, but that actually was the beginning of my life. It taught me more about education and what it means as a student. I had no idea. When I came to GCC, I had 168 credits that I had completed in college across my Air Force career, but couldn't graduate because I only spent 2 years at every location. So I didn't qualify for graduation. It wasn't until I found out through GCC and through the master's program that there are other opportunities out there for us to do the things we need to do to help our students. And that was very important to me, and that's where I wanted to be. As a matter of fact, when we moved into the facility in 2008, there was an ad published by the Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans Association, and it impacted me so much that I said, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my career, for my new career. And it was an ad that it started off as a terminal and an aircraft terminal, airplane. And basically it was empty, completely empty. Not a soul in sight. It was huge airport. And it shows a young man dressed in his battle uniform, picking up his duffel bag off of the suitcase turner there. And so it shows him walking out into the street, and there's not a soul to be seen the whole time. And it shows him dropping this bag on a corner in looked like New York City, huge sky rises everywhere, and he sets it down, not a soul in sight still. But out of the gloom comes a young man wearing I think it was an MCCD t-shirt, and outstretched his hand. He says, "Welcome back," and that is impressive to me. That MCCD is positioned to change these young people's lives. That's what's important to me. In 2010, we opened the Veteran Services Center. It was designated as a standalone facility. At the time, I believe, 2010, we had just over 400 students. And our population increased. The highest point was in 2013 when we had 970 per semester, Joe, not per year. I got some other stats for you for that. But in that time, our numbers are down to this semester. We're serving 674. Now, Jay, imagine 674 stories like that, and the widows that we serve, and the service members, children that we serve, that were disabled from the services, and their dependents qualify for education benefits. We're there to help them through all these struggles with all the VA stuff, to help them figure out what they want to do for the rest of their lives. And the issues are privacy. We do get involved in some touchy situations, and we don't have that in that facility right now. Another thing is what I've set for a goal for our center. Probably went out on a limb on this one, but every one of these guys that you see here were what we call work study students. The VA possesses a program called the VA Work Study, and you have to be at least a 3/4 time student, preferably full-time student, and the VA will hire these young men and women to serve veterans at the location where we serve veterans. We have 7 students right now that are work studies that are paid by the government to come in and do individual and peer support. So my goal is in the next 3 years to increase that to 25, because the success story that I have from these young men that go into the work study program, graduate with GCC, and move on to universities and careers, there's nothing I can say that can give you the least bit of amount of pride that I have in the success of these young men and women. And that's why I'm here. So with that, just a little bit of statistics that I don't think any of you have been aware of. But in 2012, we had, and that was just shortly after we moved into the Veterans Center, we had 3,865 visits to that center. And that was 1,335 students for the year. In 2013, we had 5,260 for 1,586 students. We had, for 2014, we had 3,971 for a total of 1,286 students. And in 2015, we had 3,749 visits to this today for 1,122 students. You may think, why do they visit so many times for just that many students? Well, you have to remember that each time we certify a student, we certify them twice per year. So they're coming in to discuss their continuation, and also their dependents may come with them. We help them to advise them. We're now, the word's out there because we are a veterans-friendly campus, and they don't associate that with necessarily education. They come to visit us because we get things done. And we have a really great community outreach program that these folks know that they can get help from. And thanks to Chris, that's a lot of stuff that I've tasked him with. So Chris has made the ability to put the word out on the street, and we help these veterans, and they don't have to be a student. So with that, I thank you all for listening tonight, and I hope we can count on you to improve our conditions.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you for your service
Thank you.
and your words. Thank you very much, Mr. Pierce. And last for this evening, in Citizens Interim, Mr. Ray Torres. Welcome, sir.
Good evening. President Livingston, board members, chancellor, college presidents. My name is Ray Torres. I'm chairman of the board of C4 Vets, which stands for Support, Education, and Employment for Veterans. My vice chair, Rusty Finley, who's on business travel, is usually the spokesperson. And Rusty is a United States Air Force Lieutenant General retired. He speaks on behalf of C4 Vets. I do have with me this evening, supporting the message that I'm going to provide, a board member, Luis Quinones, and also a very distinguished strategic advisor of C4 Vets, Jim Simons, who is United States Navy Rear Admiral, retired. They're here to support the message as well as to support C4 Vets and what it represents. I understand that the remodel and expansion item was pulled, and what I'm about to say hopefully carries over to the time that you discuss it. But first, let me say that C4 Vets is a nonprofit public charity organization, 501c3. By design, we do not have paid staff, and all our board members volunteer their time for what we do for the community colleges in the state of Arizona and in Maricopa County. Our mission is to accelerate the support of men and women who have served our nation in uniform as productive members of the civilian community, including the pursuit of academic goals, greater opportunity to succeed, and advance in the workplace. We know that men and women in uniform have distinguished themselves in serving our country, are leaving the military in large numbers, as it was said earlier. It is estimated that 5 million post 9/11 service members will have left the military by 2020, and scores of them are likely to enter higher education using their VA benefits. We also know that the transition to the civilian way of life will not be easy for them. A transition from a 4 to a 20-year military career to a new civilian life, combined with fitting on a college campus, interacting with a young student population, and the rigor of academic study, leads to a perfect storm for a very challenging transition. It was greatly indicated by the three veterans. The student veteran population is one that has unique needs beyond the general admission and advising. Over the last 2 years, we have recognized, C4 Vets has recognized, that veteran service centers go beyond the I have your back camaraderie need It goes to a higher level, and that level is veteran student academic success. To this end, one of our education initiatives is to improve veteran service centers for the improvement of veteran retention and academic standing. C4 Vets also collaborates with Maricopa County Community College in shaping tutoring type programs to serve veteran students at their Veteran Service Center. On that point, we are establishing foundation program funds for student veterans at community colleges, which also is an education initiative for our organization. We are the only organization issuing grants to make this program successful. We are focused on improving their academic standing and firmly believe that Veteran Service Centers is an integral part of their school's success. We are passionate on improving veteran students' confidence, on performing better than average schoolwork, improving veteran student campus life experience, where Veteran Services Centers are central to delivering and maintaining quality service. Finally, the future remodeling and expansion of the Veteran Service Center at Glendale Community College is more than brick and mortar. It is a strong message of support to the veterans on that campus. The college has been committed to veteran students, high quality veteran services for a long time. Our men and women who, after serving our nation so admirably, will directly benefit by the improved Veteran Service Center at Glendale Community College. Thank you for your attention.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you for your service, and thank you all for your service tonight and your words. That is it for Citizens Interim. Chancellor's Report, Dr. Glasper.
Madam Chair, I do not have a report tonight, but I would like to acknowledge some of our students who are in the audience. The board has probably heard of our Student Public Policy Forum, and these students we asked to get engaged through classes and so that they can be better informed regarding civic engagement by participating and spending some time with legislators and congressmen and council members and boards. So if I may ask them to stand, we have our administrator manager there. Deanna, if you can have your group stand, I'd appreciate it. And this is our student public policy from across our district. Welcome. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. We now move to the approval of the order of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve? Second? Any discussion? All in favor of approving the order of agenda? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is passed 6-0. Consent agenda. Does anyone wish to remove any items from the consent agenda? Okay. Motion to approve the consent agenda? Second? All in favor of approving the consent agenda? Aye. Opposed? Passes 6-0. Non-consent agenda. Consideration of non-consent action items. 15.1, take action on the job order of contracting purchase order to remodel 1325 South Park Lane, Tempe, Arizona for Rio Salado College, safety offices and district-wide emergency operations center. Ms. Thompson, would you care to comment?
Madam
Thank
President,
you.
members of the board, this first item involves a facility that the district purchased a few years ago. It was occupied by a tenant from the former owner until fairly recently, but they have vacated, and we are looking to proceed with development for our own purposes at this point in time. And it is proposed to be used to relocate the Rio Salado Public Safety Office. They'll be in closer proximity to the district public safety Safety Office, and it will free up some real estate in one of the other buildings that Rio owns here. I think that they're in the Tower building right now, though they might be in Hohokam, I'm not positive. The rest of the facility will be used for an appropriately sized emergency operations center. That would cover emergencies or events for the district, everything from the kind of flood situation we had last September where all the streets were flooded, and coordinating the closure of buildings and upkeep of any kind of damages that's done, to something like perhaps if a president of the United States ever came to one of our football stadium, gave a speech to coordinate that kind of response, or to coordinate with other law enforcement agencies in any kind of countywide work. So those are the proposed uses of the facility that's right across the street from the Rio parking garage.
Okay, fantastic. Any questions for Ms. Thompson? Motion to approve?
So moved.
Vote all in favor? Aye. Opposed? It passes 6-0. 15.2, take action on contract award for campus-wide card access control improvements at South Mountain Community College. Ms. Thompson.
Madam President, members of the board, this is to expand and replace some components of security door access controls at South Mountain, and it will ensure some consistent standards across the campus for better control technologies and hardware. It's a cooperative effort between college safety and college facilities as well as district emergency management, and should improve campus-wide lockdown capabilities should that be necessary, centralized monitoring, reporting of building access, and generally improve the security at the college.
Any comments? Okay. Motion to approve? Vote all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It does pass 6-0. 15.3, proposed, take action on proposed course fee changes for 2015 to 2016. Ms. Thompson.
Madam President, members of the board, we bring proposed course fees to the board generally twice a year, once with our recommendation on tuition and fees in the January-February timeframe, and then another time in this timeframe for courses that would be starting in January. So there are 204 new fees that are proposed, 149 increases, and 49 either reductions or eliminations of fees, with a net revenue impact of about $357,000. And in your agenda item, you have detail on what each of those changes are and what the proposed uses are.
Thank you very much. Any comments for Ms. Thompson? Motion to approve? Vote all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 6-0. 15.4, to take action on 2015-2016 District Property and Casualty Insurance Program Renewal. Ms. Thompson.
Madam President, members of the board, at this time of year, we bring to the board for action our recommendation on renewing or establishing new lines for property and liability insurance, and there's a series of types of insurance that are covered. We have a total premium increase of a little over $1,100, so it's pretty flat for the period, which is very good. Also notable is that our crime policy limit doubled to $2 million, so we picked up a little more coverage for overall just a small increase in premium.
Okay. Any comments from the board? Motion to approve? Vote all in favor? Aye. Opposed? It passes 6-0. And for the Chancellor, 16.1. This is to take action on adoption of a resolution by the Governing Board of the Maricopa County Community College District supporting the call to action on One Maricopa. Dr. Glasper, would you care to comment?
Madam President, if I may, I'd like to read the recommendation. It is recommended that the Governing Board adopt the following resolution to support a systemic redesign of the Maricopa County Community College District to a fully realized One Maricopa model. The 3 points that I'd like to share is that MCCCD commits to the standardization and consolidation of all processes, services, programs, and functions that promote student success and curricular excellence while maximizing the use of resources. Second, MCCCD commits to fully researching and vetting the transition to a new model which moves the system to single accreditation, and to presenting the proposed framework to the Governing Board by July 1st, 2016. Third point is MCCCD commits to transparency and communication in a process that undertakes the necessary due diligence and leads to a data-informed decision-making. As part of the justification, the adoption of this resolution will provide a formal charge by the governing board to the chancellor and to the college leadership to work towards a unified model. This policy this resolution is brought to you based upon some discussions within the policy committee, and it will allow us to, over the next few months, look at the pros and cons towards moving to the single model and the reference towards single accreditation. And with this, I present this to board for their consideration.
Are there any comments this evening? I have one question. It's a question. What would the community, the taxpayer, the administration on the campuses, those who work in various areas on the campuses, to expect with our vote this evening? What would they respect by our? If we vote in favor of taking adoption of this resolution, what would we be looking forward to in this calendar year? What can the taxpayers expect?
Quite frankly, you'd be looking at the same thing we've been moving toward for the last 5 years. And it's moving towards a one Maricopa model. And at any point along this continuum, I believe and have been in discussions with the Higher Learning Commission and others that we've been moving towards a one Maricopa approach for probably at least the last 5 years, if not 7. And what this will allow us to do is to further vet the notion of what does single accreditation mean. We will form a district-wide committee, and we will look at the pros and cons. We will look at other institutions. We will look at what would happen with changes in resources and allow us an opportunity to present the fact that by moving towards a one Maricopa model, the phrase has been used that single accreditation is not a silver bullet, but it is one of those items that can be achieved by moving in this direction, and it will allow us to have some additional conversations over time with the Higher Learning Commission about the potential impact.
Very good, very good. Any other comments or questions for Dr. Glasper?
Yes, I have one. The wording is that we are supporting a systemic redesign. I would be more comfortable supporting a study of a systemic redesign, because it sounds as if we're supporting it before it's been done.
And from what I heard from Dr. Glasper, it sounds like we're still in the process of studying, correct?
That's what I'm hearing. I'm not opposed to the one Maricopa concept at all, but we don't know what the redesign is going to be. And if I vote for this, what I'm saying is, yes, we ought to study this. But the resolution says we support a systemic redesign.
Okay. Dr. Glasper, do you want to go first, or Mr. Gutierrez? Mr. Gutierrez.
If Dr. Glasper has a comment, let's let him go first.
Madam President, members of the board, I understand what Mr. Burke is saying, but I would proffer to you that we have been moving towards a systemic redesign for a number of years during this movement of one Maricopa. I think what this is more specifically citing is that in reference to the study should be simply around single accreditation, the pros and cons of single accreditation. The one Maricopa movement has begun and is moving, and I don't think that this is something that I'm asking for permission to do, quite frankly. I'm asking for your support for us to look at whether or not moving to single accreditation, what are the elements of concern or others, and I'm asking for the board to support me in this initiative.
Mr. Gutierrez.
Madam Chairman, as I read it, we're endorsing the process of lunch, frankly, long before I sat on the board, but endorsing the process.
Your microphone.
Oh, your microphone.
My microphone.
I'm sorry, I hear you so well, but I thought it was just off.
I thought everybody heard.
You're pointing at my
Madam Chairman, can you all hear me now? Yeah. Way in the back. Yeah. All right.
Nodding and smiling.
That's good. That's good. Madam Chairman, as I read this, we're endorsing a process, we're supporting a process that's going forward. Frankly, it's a process that was launched long before I sat on the board, the process of bringing together and really rethinking through the design of this college system, which came about in the early '60s, redesigned to meet today's demography in this county, but also to meet the financial realities that we are facing as a district. And so it propels us forward. It makes it clear that the board is endorsing propelling going forward. But it is a process. It does not get us to single accreditation. Were that ever to occur, that's going to take a series of votes by this board to make that happen. If we were to go, as it has already in a number of instances, to bring this entire this sort of 10 independent systems into a cohesive whole that makes greater sense to meet the needs of today. So I think we're endorsing a process. I think it works. As for the question of study or not study, obviously we're going forward to a one Maricopa, and in that process we'll be studying a lot of steps. And each step has to be considered along the way. It isn't simply the final adoption, and I guess that's what I want to stress to Mr. Berg. We are not in any way arriving at a final adoption, but what we are saying, however, is that certainly one of the items that one Maricopa may in fact contain.
Thank you, Mr. Gutierrez. Go ahead.
To add to that, I look at the last 50 years that we've been pretty much the same with our 10 colleges at this point, and I think students look at things differently than they did 50 years ago. Most of our students still consider themselves students of a particular college, but the growing number of students are those that take classes from multiple colleges and have to decide which college they want to get their certificate or diploma from. And that's changing. That's growing around the country, and not just here in Maricopa. So I think we need to look not just at the current and the past, but the future. As we get more and more students who are able to accommodate their needs for classes at where they work or where they live or where their girlfriend or boyfriend works and lives, those are decisions that students make every day. And I think it's more important for us to keep in mind that it's the students that this is designed to serve, and that we do our best to make sure that students get what they pay for and what they invest their time in when it comes to the final result. As Mr. Gutierrez says, there are numerous steps along the way to the final result, but I think establishing a date of 2016 in July at the next term, I think is a good point at which we can say we've come to this stage in our development and it's time to move into the future. So I support this.
Mr. Heap, any comments or questions for Dr. Glasper?
I'm definitely for this new program. It's a process. It's a natural process. I see this path in a lot of colleges across the country, and it's made cause and effect has improved student success by focusing in on the administration and the students' view of the administration, and the economies are could be absolutely fantastic for everybody. So I vote for it. Thank you.
Mrs. McGrath, anything?
No, thanks.
I'm not in favor of this. And obviously, Dr. Glasper doesn't really need our okay, as stated. I just wish it was clear. Are we thinking, are we adopting, and what are we adopting this year? We don't really know. We're just adopting a resolution. But what entails what is entailed in that resolution, well, we're still thinking. So in my mind, I just wish what we're taking an action on and adopting of said resolution was much clearer in my mind. But I have no gripes with it.
Yeah.
Mr. Burke.
I agree that most of what I'm reading here we've done before, we've agreed to before. The issue in this resolution is one accreditation. I'm trying to get my mind around that possibility. I'm at a blank. I don't know what the cost is going to be. I don't know what the logistics are going to be. I don't know if there is a community college district this size in the nation that does that. If there are, I'm willing to learn about it, but I'm reading this not knowing, just really not knowing much about it. I wish we could have had this conversation a couple of weeks ago in the agenda review.
And quite frankly, I'm worried about our presidents, our faculty, others on the campuses. This is not just something that, can we table this and have a further conversation on this? Or can we reword it? Not tonight, obviously, but can that be brought forward?
Madam Chair, members of the board, in reference to Mr. Burke's questions, basically what this is asking for is your support to do that due diligence and bring it back and provide all of those questions. We've already empowered through the policy committee a single accreditation committee that is currently being chaired by Dr. Maria Harper-Marinick. And in discussions in the policy committee, the board was instructing me to look for a way to have a public support for us continuing this conversation. So whatever the board chooses to do, this is a board resolution. This is not my resolution.
Madam Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Gutierrez.
Madam Chairman, I think in response to Mr. Burke, this is, let me say again, this is not finality. This is not the final resolution. If in fact the various changes that you referred to are going to take place, each of them are going to be discussed at one point or another. As getting to this moment has been, we have, by one action or another, approved the process of One Maricopa. This clearly sets a date for a further discussion, but it does not in any way give finality to any decision. And by that I mean give finality to, were we to move to single accreditation, what that model would look like. I mean, at this point, that discussion has not taken place. But certainly this resolution makes it clear that discussion will take place, and it might well be rejected at that time. And when it does take place, I am certain that the input of the Faculty Association, the presidents, all of the parties involved here will be a part of that input. So the resolution just simply moves us forward, and that's what I would like to do, is just move us forward to keep going along this direction.
Madam Chair?
Yes, sir.
I would like to submit let's see, I need some help on the motion that I'm about to do. It is a substitute motion that the board supports a resolution to study the feasibility of single accreditation. Everything else in this thing we're doing, we're committed to. I don't know that we need to resolve that again. It's the issue of single accreditation. I'm willing to study that.
Members?
I mean, I think we can study it as long as we come back with a recommendation. And a date certain. The fact of the matter is that in academia and frankly in the legislature and other institutions I've been involved with, study committees tend to study. And that's unfortunate. That's exactly how things don't get done. And so as long as you want to study, great. As long as the study involves recommendations that come to the board that we can move forward with, that have finality at some point. I think the importance of this resolution is that it at some point brings those points of decision to us. And so if you write it in some fashion that has that element, then I certainly think that's appropriate. But it is going forward. I mean, I not the final decision, but the decision to move at a certain pace.
Mr. Saar.
I would
Oh,
be
Mr.
willing
Burke.
to add in 2016 that we have a date when it's due.
It is in there now.
But I know it. In my motion, it was just, it's to study the feasibility of single accreditation and to present a report to the board by 2016.
You are correct. That's why I asked Dr. Glasper, what are we going to see this year?
I second Mr. Burke's motion.
Madam Chairman, what I said I would agree to is not a report. It is a report and a recommendation. I mean, there's a distinction there between just a report and a recommendation. If we want to move forward, people have to be prepared to make decisions. And decisions are going to mean that there is going to be a recommendation that comes to us. So a report, certainly, but a report with a recommendation so that we have something before us that gives us the pros and cons and lays out a path for going forward, whether or not it is approval or non-approval. And so it's an action item,
Yes,
Mr. Burke.
So, Mr. Burke, can you restate what your motion was?
Yes.
You did not call for a report, did you, sir? Can you please reread that?
Well, it's a study of the feasibility of single accreditation. I'm assuming that it would come as either a report or a recommendation. And that can come at any meeting. You know, the chancellor and the chair of the board can bring those action items at any meeting. I'm assuming that once the feasibility study is done, it will come to us. I'm not trying to avoid it. But I'm also, what I'm hearing is that there's some on the board who want the recommendation coming. And I don't, until I learn about it, I'm not ready to do that.
Dr. Glasper.
Madam President, members of the board, bullet number 2 clearly commits to fully researching and vetting the model and coming back, presenting to the board a proposed framework which would include timelines. And I would share with the board that if the board chooses to take a split on a recommendation and focus solely on single accreditation, then they are publicly stating that the movement towards One Maricopa is something that is, in my mind, less important. And to me, that movement is more important than single accreditation. And if the board splits on this, then we're going back to a system of the past that in essence says 9-1 is a tie, in that we will not make a decision and we can continue to do business as usual. And I thought this was about moving forward, but the decision is with the board.
Mr. Burke, do you have anything before I call on Mr. Saar? Okay, Mr. Saar, please.
Yeah, we're not the only ones that have gone through this. I mean, our comparable sized institution, Miami-Dade Community College in Southern Florida, has gone through this. They are a single accredited institution. Works fine for them, works very well for them. Not saying that there's not some transitional issues that we have to deal with, and I think we're fully capable of evaluating those, especially since the chancellor sits on the accreditation board. We need to be, as board members, diligent in pursuing what other colleges our size and close to our size have done in the same situation and the success and challenges that they've faced. I like the fact that there is a date certain that we're going to, as the chancellor said, not establish the fact that we're going to be singly accredited, but we are going to be considered a single institution. And I think that's the most important thing about this resolution, is that we are going toward that goal, which, as Mr. Heap has said, adds numerous consolidated elements of our district that we can take advantage of. We've already seen some of those in the marketing and the safety issues, in the curriculum, in our working with other institutions such as ASU, Grand Canyon, and others. We do it as a single institution as opposed to 10 or 11 individual institutions. We're just making better use of who we are when we work outside and within the system that we have. I don't have any doubt that the chancellor and the staff and us involved as well over the next year will thoroughly vet all the other issues that are incorporated in this transition. But I think we have to make, what I'm looking at tonight is saying that by June 30th or July 1st of 2016, we will have in front of us a vote to make ourselves a single institution.
Madam President?
Yes, Mrs. McGrath.
Thank you. I support Mr. Burke's substitute motion because I have a lot of questions about what is involved in this process, and I haven't gotten any answers. For one thing, I'm concerned about the athletic teams. If we have one institution, does that mean for each sport we have only one athletic team? That does away with quite a few, I think. They're just, for instance, we had a presentation recently about the marketing, and it turns out that we have 74 people across the district employed in marketing. And I think that's a few too many. And I'd like to know, can we reduce that number, do the financially smart thing and hire an outside marketing team and reduce our number of marketing employees to perhaps 3 to manage the contract with an outside marketer? I just have too many questions about this that haven't even been discussed for us. They just, we've had a presentation about we're going to go to One Maricopa, but I haven't had any questions answered about exactly what is involved. So I fully support Mr. Burke's idea.
Well, I don't know if I want to go for the vote right now. I think we need to decide whether we're going with Mr. Burke's idea.
It's one that's on the table.
All right, Mr. Burke, can you take the motion and reread that?
Actually,
Or,
no.
all right.
This is new. We haven't had a chance to discuss this, so it's taking me a little time to get my head around this, okay? But I trust Dr. Glasper, and from what I'm hearing, we are going to get a chance to vote on this before we do it. So I'm going to withdraw my motion.
Madam Chair, can I ask Mr. Burke a question?
Absolutely.
Mr. Burke, if you were to make your amendments and focus it on bullet number 2, which is further delineating the date, the time, or whatever information will come back, does that give you any comfort?
Not necessarily. I heard what you said about the commitment to One Maricopa, and I support that. So I don't want there to be a confusion about my support of that, and so and then my motion starts to grow. And the 3 points in the recommendation are they're good points, and the last one is that there be a commitment to transparency and communication in the process. I think we've done that in other, so I'm working around to work to vote on this. So I withdraw my motion.
Dr. Glasper.
You know, this conversation about the One Maricopa, every activity that we have done for the last 5 years, but more in earnest in the last 2 years, has been centered around processes and single stop. Today we were out at Mesa and others trying to move towards a One Maricopa to support our students. And to have a notion that we aren't sharing information around One Maricopa, to me, is somewhat disturbing. And we talk about One Maricopa workforce. We talk about it in the context of practically every conversation we have. And I would be willing to have separate presentations. As everything that has been shared tonight, this is not about making a decision. This is about fact-finding to give the board an opportunity to make a decision that they feel will have sufficient data so that they can make the right decision and they can choose to go either direction. So, and this was purely trying to get public support for the job that we're trying to do, because this is a major sea change for our system. It's 50 years of culture, it's 50 years of change, but we have to at least ask the question and then make a decision. And that's all I'm asking for. If the board wants to table this, then, as I said, that's always the board's decision. But again, this was a discussion in the policy committee, but maybe it didn't go far enough, and I will accept whatever the board chooses to do tonight.
Madam Chairman?
Yes, sir. Mr. Gutierrez.
Madam Chairman, I just want to remind everyone, on that second dot point, because that seems to be the troubling dot point to some folks, but it reads, the MCCD commits to fully researching and vetting the transition to a new model and presenting that proposed framework to the governing board. I mean, so that this clearly sets a date for a framework that's going to come before us. Not for a final product, but for a framework that's going to come before us. That framework, Mrs. McGrath, will certainly contain what's going to happen to the Phoenix Bears. Because the last time somebody talked about getting rid of the Phoenix College Bears, all hell broke loose. And it will again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. But my point is this, that this in no way deals with decisions to that level. It deals with a framework that comes back to this board. So Mr. Burke, I'm fully satisfied that this doesn't go beyond that. And I'm also fully satisfied that the board in this resolution takes the position that whatever decision their process that we have is going to happen in a transparent fashion. It's going to happen in a way that includes everyone who's impacted, the presidents, the faculty association, the adjuncts association, etc. Will all students, and the Bears. Look, there's probably a couple of artichokes in the room still left.
No, they all left.
They all left? The peaceful arties?
Yes.
See? But all of that is going to take place. I'm satisfied with the resolution as drafted because I think it does precisely what you wanted to do, Mr. Burke.
And just one final comment. This is the most alive the board has become in quite a few months. And it just started with one little question. So I would hope all the presidents and district and Dr. Glasper, you heed our maybe a little bit of confusion. Maybe. We all support it, but maybe we're just a little bit confused and we don't want to go down a path that would lead our taxpayers or our faculty, our students, down a road that we're not confident in. So I'm wondering if, as a board, we need just a little bit more and a little bit more time to digest, and that would be good. But I'm all in favor for a motion to approve.
Madam Chairman?
Yes.
I pardon me, Madam President, I call for a roll call vote.
Okay, as it is.
Madam Chair, I move that we vote to approve this resolution as presented.
Any second?
Second.
A second. Vote, all in favor, in roll call. Mrs. McGrath.
Nay.
Mr. Gutierrez.
Aye.
Mr. Burke.
Aye.
Mr. Heap.
Aye.
Mr. Sarr.
Aye.
And myself, aye. And so it passes 5-1. No, 5-1. 5-1. Pass. So now we've decided we're getting rid of the bears. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm beyond that. And I think Artie's going to have to share his little petals or whatever they're really called. I'm sorry, I'm not an artichoke lover. No, I mean, not the school. I love the school, not the vegetable. All right, let's move on. 16.2, to take action on recommendation to resolve case of, I'm going to say this wrong, LIEBICH and Barber versus MCCD. Dr. Glasper, would you care to comment?
Madam President, members of the board, on the next two items, I would like to ask our General Counsel Lee Combs to cover these two items, please.
Mr.
Madam
Combs,
President,
welcome.
Thank you. Madam President, members of the board, last week we had a chance to consult with counsel about these two cases, which are consolidated for purposes of settlement. Counsel has made a recommendation and asked for your guidance. The motion before you today is your opportunity to give that guidance in accordance with the recommendations of counsel.
Motion to approve. First of all, any comments or questions? Okay, motion
Move
to approve.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Vote all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 16.3. Oh, it passes 6-0. 16.3, take action on a recommendation to resolve case of Hale versus MCCD. Mr. Combs.
Madam President, members of the board, this case too was discussed in last week's executive session. Council proposes a settlement and asks for your guidance, and the motion before you is your opportunity to give that guidance today.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Any comments?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. 17, Human Resources. Thank you, Mr. Combs.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board.
Good evening.
These are the new employments for the period of August 1st through the 31st. As discussed in agenda review, you will notice a spike in the number of hires given the time of year. So for that time period, we had a total of 149 new hires, consisting of the majority being regular full-time hires and a mix of 15 specially funded and 63 short-term hires.
Thank you very much. Is that also 17.2? Or are we going on to that now?
Yes, we will. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board. For the same time period of August 1st through the 31st, we had a total of 15 separations.
Thank you, Ms. Shelton Johnson.
You're welcome.
Business Services, 18.1, the Budget Analysis Report, Fund 1, General Unrestricted Fund for the 2 months ending August 31st, 2015. Ms. Thompson.
Madam President, members of the board, you have in your package the Budget Analysis Report, which is a monthly report that we provide that compares the budget for the general fund with actual activity. So it looks at revenue collections versus the revenue budget, as well as expenditure activity versus the expenditure budget. And to date, through August, we have spent 10% of our budget, and that's similar to prior years. And we have recognized about 13.6% of revenues, which is also similar, and we expect to end the year meeting financial stability requirements.
Thank you very much. This final one, well, not final, but 19 is actually a discussion. It is retention of outside counsel to assist with the Chancellor's contract. Discuss and possibly take action to approve or reject the retention of outside counsel to advise the board legally on matters related to a potential contract extension for the Chancellor. I actually put this one on. Well, quite frankly, I'm in an awkward position. I'm a teacher. I'm not a contract specialist. And that's why I have requested the discussion for possible outside counsel. We have 4 new members here. And we were just privy to, we just requested, actually Mrs. McGrath did, sometime I believe, it was late August, I could look up the exact date, the Chancellor's contract. We received the final contract in mid-September, which gave us an overview of what's on there now. I personally have no complaint as to most of the specifics on there. I just want an outside attorney to look at it. Right now it's drawn up in-house, and I just want to make sure we're giving the taxpayers exactly what they deserve, and also Dr. Glasper. I want to make sure it's the best, most sound contract for him. So in essence, this discussion is one that we make sure we have the best contract for the best chancellor. So I open this up to the board for discussion.
Madam Chair?
Yes, sir.
I think we have.
Or I just open it up. I'm sorry, sir.
I think we have excellent legal counsel, and I can't imagine what the expense of this will be, but I cannot see a reason to go outside our current counsel to evaluate this contract.
Well, now again, I'm just a teacher. But when I read the contract and I thought about it for a moment and I compared it to my own situation, I don't write my own contracts. We're in essence having somebody in-house create the contract. Just want to make sure it's good. I don't doubt Mr. Combs' ability whatsoever. And I frankly don't doubt the contract. It's just another set of eyes, sir. And I don't think that's ever been done before.
But it's an expensive set of eyes, and I'm trying to find a reason to do it.
Well,
Madam President?
yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Uh,
Saw you first.
I've had a great deal of difficulty getting information about this contract, and I don't know if it's because I'm not asking the correct questions or if I'm being misunderstood or what, but I really would like to have someone with some expertise help me with this, because I have asked several times for a summary of the total amount of the contract. And this has been going on for quite a while, and I still do not have the bottom line, what is the full amount of the contract. And I really would like to have outside counsel help on this, because for some reason I'm not able to communicate with the staff my wishes for information.
Madam
Or
Chair,
they don't.
I would like to point out that we all get the same amount of information. We have received that information.
Madam Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Gutierrez.
That's public information, and it's publicly available. This is a public institution. Those are all publicly available issues, and the contract, it seems to me the contract's pretty straightforward. It's in English. It reads in a very simple and straightforward fashion. Here's my concern with this.
Mm-hmm.
My concern is this going to delay an already delayed contract, delayed by 4 months, I might add, if I can add correctly, even further. Because if it is, I think that's absolutely unfair. That's absolutely unfair at the very last minute to do this. If it is, if you're saying it's for a future contract, or because it is a rolling contract as it is drafted, if it's for a future adaptation of the contract, then fine, I have no problem. I think it's unnecessary, but I have no problem. But if it is to delay the current contract of the Chancellor, in any way, I've got I have serious objections to doing that.
Sir, let me answer that. No, he's under a contract right now. We're not delaying anything. He's under a contract until 2017. this would be to identify if there's any weaknesses in the contract. My little eyes, just a teacher, did spy a big one.
Madam Chairman, he's under a rolling contract that's approved annually, and the scheduled approval was for, I believe, in May. Is that correct, Mr. Sarr? You went through the policy thing with. It was in May, and we delayed it, and we delayed it in June, and we delayed it again, and we delayed it again. And so, Madam Chairman, no, it doesn't end in 2017. It's a rolling contract, and it was to have been approved earlier. And if you're trying to delay the Chancellor's contract, then, Madam Chairman, I appreciate you say so. What I want to do, you say, is delay the contract. If not, let's approve it. It's a rolling contract. We can revisit it, and you can have an outside counsel if you so choose. But yes, it is a delay, Madam Chairman.
Mr. Gutierrez, this is not a delay.
A
In fact,
rolling
excuse me,
contract
sir.
was to be approved in May, Madam Chairman.
No, sir, it was agenda to be approved in August when it was finished by the administration. So no, sir, you are incorrect on that. I'm not stating that we don't have things in place for the Chancellor. I'm not even stating I'm really fussy about the monies or anything like that. There is a portion of the contract which legally I would like another set of eyes to look at for our taxpayers. Quite frankly, and it has nothing to do with the money, sir.
Madam Chairman, you should take that to agenda review and discuss it.
Point of order. We do not have a motion on the table, and without a motion,
Discussion only, we're not voting.
Well,
Not
but
voting.
It's for discussion, so.
Go ahead.
all right.
You know, I've been in a governing board for almost 20 years and have gone through numerous contracts. This is the smallest one in terms of words that I've worked with. Most of the contracts I've dealt with were, 20 pages long, but they were also policy-based too. This is a clean contract. I've looked at it now for 5 years and have not seen any reason to change anything or question anything that I haven't already had discussions with our attorney or the Chancellor. So, if I was going to make any requested changes, they would be to be competitive with this contract, and I'm not going there with the acceptance of the Chancellor on this particular contract. I think we just need to get this in place and move on. If we're looking at making changes in next year's contract, then let's have that discussion. But we're way behind in putting this one in place, so I'm in favor of putting it on the agenda for the next meeting.
It's interesting how Mr. Sarr and fellow members of the board just want to move something along which does have a section that is not legally sound. It gives pretty much all power to the Chancellor. So it is very interesting that we're wishing just to move along and really not have power of a board if we so thought, and we do not, that the Chancellor or any Chancellor sitting at the helm was unfit to do their job. That's what we're saying. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if that's what you feel, then so be it. I'll put it on the agenda for next month. But I am not saying Dr. Glasper does not deserve this contract, that I even wish we could pay him more. But do we want as a board just to not have any say whatsoever? I wonder. We don't know how long Dr. Glasper will be sitting in that chair, and we have great faith in him. We don't know who else might take up that seat. But what you're saying within this contract, if we approve it, and it continues to roll, we have very little control. So if a bad Chancellor were to sit in that seat, we'd have very little control. Is that what you want as a board? Or would you like another pair of eyes that is not paid by the Chancellor to look at it? That's what I'm asking.
Madam Chairman, I absolutely reject that the contract is legally unsound. I absolutely reject that. If you want another set of eyes, I don't object to that. I object to the delaying tactic involved here. That's what I object to. I want to go forward with this, but I reject completely. And to your notion about a future chancellor, that's a future contract. It's silly to think that this contract somehow binds us forever. Each contract is considered as its own. And finally, the chancellor sits here, this chancellor, any future chancellor, at the pleasure of this board. And when the majority of this board feels otherwise, it will so proceed. This is not a monarchy. It is a chancellor's position under a public law in Title 15.
Madam Chair, you
Dr.
asked.
Glasper, I must have read your contract incorrectly, and so please comment, and we will step down from this.
Madam Chair, you just referenced the fact that you thought I was laughing at the comment that you made. My laughter is in the fact that I had shared with the board early on that I was not interested in a conversation that would go retroactive back to solidify a contract. I had requested at the last board meeting that the board focus their efforts on 2018. If they choose to amend my contract, if they choose to give me a contract, then that's the board's decision. But the time that we're spending at this particular point, I am not aware of any language in my contract that gives me authority over anything. What is the authority is what the board gave in policy in terms of employees. I don't have anything in my contract at all that I'm aware of relative to authority. So I would be interested in the board looking at that as well. And by the way, the board is interested in my welfare. I also have an attorney. I'll have him look at it as well. But I have no questions about what happens, and my document is public, so the board can look at it and anyone else can look at it.
Any other further comments or questions? All right, let's go to community language. Mr. Burke.
This governing board report?
Yes.
Governing board report, sir, I'm sorry.
And this last month, I attended a meeting at Glendale Community College to review plans for the proposed Veteran Center remodel and the addition to the Veteran Center. I enjoyed my visit there. On September 9, I was pleased to attend the Victoria Foundation's event honoring Latinos in the community for their contributions. And one of our board members, Alfredo Gutierrez, was honored at that event. And in addition, our former Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Dr. Alfredo de los Santos, was also received an award at that meeting. I visited with Ms. LaCoya Shelton Johnson regarding the HR study on staff. And on September 11, I attended a reception for Dr. Linda Lujan at Chandler Gilbert Community College. It was notable for the number of community leaders who attended that reception, and it reflects on her good work in the community and for the college and the district. So I enjoyed that. And then finally, Mr. Heap and I attended the Audit and Finance Committee last week.
Thank you, Mr. Burke. Mr. Gutierrez.
Madam Chairman, in working with Raul Castro Institute at Phoenix College, there was a presentation of a lecture series, the first of which was a presentation of La Bestia, which is a documentary of a freight train that originates in Tapachula, Mexico, the furthest point south, and comes all the way north to the border. It's a award-winning documentary. The documentarian was there to present it. Over 500 people attended. We almost filled up Bullpit. I've been going to Bullpit for 20 years, and I've never seen it that full, so that was pretty great. And in the coming month, that same lecture series of the Raul Castro Institute is presenting The Salt of the Earth. I think that's on October 22nd, and you're all invited. Madam Chairman, I wanted to make some comments about veterans. I was very pleased to hear everyone during Citizens Interim. And let me say again, I have sent articles, I've mentioned to many of you the importance of this. Look, most of our veterans who come back meeting great challenges and overcome them. They do extremely and exceedingly well. But all of us who came back in a vacuum, came back wondering what the heck we're going to do next and how we fit, come back into a world that we left that we don't even know. Many of us left from high school, and we were 17 in my case, and you come back years later, and your friends are gone or they're in jail, and you really don't want to go to jail with them. In fact, the reality is that for those of us who came back in the Vietnam era, there was little or no help. I mean, we found each other. In my case, there was a tree at Arizona State University where the veterans gathered, and it was counseling to each other. I still wonder, because so many got lost, how many are homeless today, because there was no help. So we're talking about the increase of space at Glendale. I think that's exceedingly important. It'll be on our agenda. We need to do that. But this is a challenge to the presidents and to the chancellor, but really to the presidents, to go back and look at that space that each of you have. At Scottsdale, you have space. At all of our colleges, we have space. But to go back and look at that and look at it with new eyes, because there's some fabulous things that are going on there. It's just not, kind of students who are a little older than the high school students hanging around. All of that is happening, but a lot more is going on there. There's some extraordinary chemistry going on there. Sometimes the best help is the help we can give each other, and that's going on there. And sometimes the best help is the help we can give each other with professionals around. Because I know in my case, and I know in the case of many of us of my era, when we got back, it was too easy to go get drunk. It was too easy to go do so many things we shouldn't have done because there wasn't guidance, there wasn't a center, there wasn't folks pushing us on, there wasn't counseling. There is today. And so I am challenging each of the presidents to go back and look at your space with new eyes, to talk to the students, to talk to the spouses, the loved ones who are suffering right along with the veterans, by the way. They're not exempt from all this. Talk to everyone and bring back where we should be with our veterans centers, where we should be going. They say that wars are winding down out there. I see little evidence of it. So I suspect that there will be folks coming back from various fronts. The gentleman that was with us earlier had been in Afghanistan and Iraq and in Southeast Asia. It's extraordinary, such a young man, 3 different wars. That's the price that our young men and women are paying today. The least we can do is offer a little bit of help. So that's my challenge to the presidents. Take a look at it, come back, say, this is what we've got to do to help our folks. Thank you.
Mr. Heap.
In the last month, I attended the Glendale Veterans Administration building, and next I attended the Insurance Summit, as well as the Board Members Association Law Conference. Next, we attended the Mesa Registration Building opening, and also the Audit and Finance, as as Doyle mentioned earlier. So it's been a full month, so thank you.
Mrs. McGrath.
Thank you. I was really pleased to hear the presentation from the veterans tonight. I have been looking very hard on the Glendale campus for an alternative place to put a new center for them, because I'm very concerned that the remodel plans that we were presented, that would be the new building, are not not as good as I would hope they would be, and I keep hoping we can find another place on the campus to either put an addition onto or remodel, because the veterans do need a decent center there. I'm hoping we can find alternative space. I had the pleasure today of going to Mesa Community College for the ribbon cutting of their new student services building. And I've never seen a better redesign, remodel in a long, long time. It was just absolutely amazing. They've done a wonderful job. They've terrific new building. If you get an opportunity to visit that campus, please go see that new addition. It is terrific.
Mr. Saar. Thank you, Mrs. McGrath.
Changing the subject almost totally here. I spent the last month or two really visiting all of our CTE programs on campuses, and I'm very impressed. I come from that background. That's where I taught when I taught. From everything from obviously our nursing programs and our allied health, we always hear about those, but we don't always hear about some of the other skill areas like welding and automotive and electronics and on and on and on that we have, including and a very successful program we rarely hear about is our mortuary science program. So I'm very impressed that we've got an excellent staff in all those facilities. We do need to look at it, I think, as a governing board and a district, to making sure that those facilities contain the elements of instruction that prepare the students for their future. That's not inexpensive by any means, but I think it's important that our business partners and our students and certainly the faculty that we have are continuing to work with each other to make sure that the needs of our Maricopa County workforce are coming from our institution. And the students that we take either as adults or as graduating high school students all are in the process of becoming better earners for their families, to make sure that they move up economically as well as quality of life. So I want to again thank our CTE faculty and staff for doing the jobs they do, and I hope that we can spend some time reviewing those programs to make sure that we're doing the best we can to provide the workforce that our Maricopa County and the state need. Secondly, I want to let people know that we're in homecoming season. I know that Mesa had their homecoming this last Saturday. I know that October 10th is the homecoming festivities at Scottsdale Community College, and that is on October 10th. And I want everybody to also know, even more importantly, that at 9 o'clock in the morning on October 10th will be an outstanding exhibition of the newest and fastest growing sport in the nation, pickleball. And if you get a chance, all of you presidents, to come on over, wear your tennis shoes. The chancellor has committed to the exhibition, and Mr. Burke is working on it. That is about the average age of a pickleball player, is myself and Mr. Burke. But it's starting to grow at the younger ages. So we're hoping to get another element of exercise and fitness to our colleges, and I think things like pickleball, which, by the way, will have its annual U.S. Open in Casa Grande coming up in November. We're nice to know that the National Association of Pickleball is located in Surprise, Arizona. And I could go on for hours here, and I'll stop because I'm sure that all of you will look at coming to the Scottsdale Community College campus at 9 o'clock in the morning, October 10th. Thank you.
Can you videotape this for me?
I will do whatever it takes.
Yeah, okay. All righty. If he isn't the president of the Pickleball Association, he needs to be. Or we should just get pom-poms of something. I really don't have a report, but I do want to say to the veterans, this month has been a hard one. My best friend of dear gosh, I don't even know how many years, 35 years, is a Navy SEAL in Hawaii. SEAL Team 3, and also I think Hawaii is a SEAL Team 1? 2. I don't know, something like that. So he's served on both teams. After 25 years, he did not get the promotion he desired, which would move him up to I don't know what, but cuts came his way. And now that person above him is saying, now I'll have to hire two people just to do your one job. He doesn't know what it's like on the outside. Not anymore. And he'll be faced with that decision. We'll be attending his goodbye in December. And all I could think about was his new venture into the real world once again. He's been in the real world. He's in the real world, but into the unknown real world. And that's all I kept thinking about was his new life. So thank you very much for coming tonight. I really enjoyed your presentations. And for board fans and anyone out there, obviously GCC will be on the next agenda item, as will the Chancellor's contract for a vote. So thank you very much. I wanted to give it, so you know, up for Mrs. McGrath to do her due diligence, and she's in that direct area, and Mrs. Haver to have some time to look at it after she was returned from her trip. So I thought you deserved to know why it was removed. Okay, thank you very much. With that, let's move to, there are no Vice Chancellor reports, the external community reports. AADGB, Mr. Burke. All right. ASBA, Mr. Sarr, and ACCT?
No ASBA report, but we are, some of us headed out to San Diego for the annual conference of trustees. We look forward to spending time with trustees from across the nation, learning what they do well, and I'm sure that they will learn from us what we do very well.
Any for ACCT? No.
That was it.
That was it. Yeah. That was it. The establishment of next meeting dates, times, and places. October 6, 2015 at 5 o'clock. We'll have a board policy committee meeting along with an agenda review. October 6, 2015, 7 p.m. board work session in the governing board room. Also, then we move to the 26th. There is a board charter schools committee meeting in the governing room here, so please attend if you wish. October 27th will be the board budget and the regular board meeting. And with that, we so adjourn the board meeting of September 29th. Board members, thank you very much. There is no executive session.